When I went there, I was just a guitar player. Didn't sing at all. Played
Could
the
you
guitar.
sing?
No, I was terrible. I'm a terrible singer. My mom always says, I came out to this world like a frog, like wah. And my brother, my sister, my mom, they're all amazing singers. But I always had that froggy thing. So they was like, oh, no. Just ended up when I went there, I started to like learn how to play and sing for the first time, and I fell in love with it. That's how that went down for me, was a couple of accidents. Didn't have the loop pedal, so I started stomping on the stage. And then so I was like, oh, that's cool. So I brought the kick drum out and then cut my thumb. So I had to play the slide, just like weird accidental happenings turning into lemonade, I guess. 44 years old, only now putting myself to the fire finally and saying, okay, enough is enough. Start learning how to speak Hawaiian, start learning how to speak Samoan. I dodged it all my life because it was like, oh, this pent up like energy, like, I should already know that kind, right? And it's embarrassing to say I never went down that journey yet, but enough is enough. Now I started meeting with friends, learning a little bit. And I'm on the journey finally after all these years,
How would you say music changed your life?
Well, it saved my life numerous times.
Velina mai kako, welcome to Keep It Aloha, a podcast that keeps it aloha by meeting someone new and immediately trying to see how many mutual friends you have in common based on where they graduated from. I'm your host Kamaka, and if you ever heard of the 6 degrees of separation, in Hawaii, it's more like 2 degrees of separation. For our guest today, you don't need any degrees of separation to know who he is. But before we introduce our talented guest, I want to remind you that our first ever live audience podcast is coming up very soon on February 18th at Blue Note, Hawaii. Our guest will be the queen of talk story and past podcast guest, McKenna Maduli. Plus, I got some surprises as well. So head to BlueNoteHawaii.com to get your tickets now, and we hope to see you there. Also, if you didn't know already, February is Hawaiian Language Month. As I said in our last episode, I'll be teaching you a Hawaiian word every episode this month, and today's Hua'olelo Okala word of the day is pa'i pa'i lima, which means to clap. For example, when I hear our guest play, I pa'i pa'i lima. I clap. Because he is so impressive. Okay, let's introduce our guest. Support for this podcast comes from Texaco in Hawaii, which features 58 convenient locations across the state. Fueling up at Texaco is fast and easy when you use the Texaco mobile app to pay at the pump. The Texaco mobile app is a contactless way to pay for fuel so you can get in and out of the gas station quickly. Fuel your car and fuel yourself. Pick up your favorite local snacks and ice cold drinks at your neighborhood Texaco today. Texaco at Techron, driving performance. Our guest today is a multi-instrumentalist from the island of Oahu. He is a one-man band who uses electronic drum triggers to lay down a variety of grooves with his feet to accompany himself on guitar, banjo, lap steel, or ukulele while singing soulful, island-inspired rock and blues. His album, Aloha Spirit, was a Nā Hōkū Hanohano Award nominee for Best Contemporary Album of the Year in 2018. He has been the supporting act for Alabama Shakes, Shakey Graves, Xavier Rudd, Jenny Lewis, Julian Marley, and Kaleo, to name a few. In 2009, Eddie Vedder invited him to sing Hawaii 78 with him at the Hawaii Theater. If you see him perform, you will be in awe because he is awesome. I am super stoked to talk stories with him today. His name is Tavana McMoore. Aloha, Tavana. Welcome to the Keep It Aloha podcast. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me, Kamaka. Appreciate it.
So that's your last name, McMoore. McMoore. Okay. Yeah, I was actually looking. I was like, I wonder what his last name is, because you're just known for Tavana. You're like a Brazilian. You're just like Pele. Neymar. You're just known for one name, Tavana.
Oh yeah. I guess just keep it simple for everybody. But yeah, McMoore. That's the last name.
McMoore.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Sometimes I forget people have last names when they're just like, no, like what is, I was going to say what is Beyonce's last name, but we actually know what that is. Beyonce knows.
What is it? Oh yeah,
Beyonce
there you go, of course.
Yeah.
I forgot.
I never say it, but then as soon as I said her name, I was like, oh yeah. But yeah.
We thought about putting the McMoore a couple of times, but we just left it.
No, Tavana's like the perfect name for an entertainer. Same with Taimane.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Same. Yeah. Oh, that's my girl.
Like if you're Jake Shimabukuro, you can't just go by Jake.
You gotta bust the
Shimabukuro, right?
Yeah, that's identifiable, man.
Yeah, same with Mike Love. You can't just be Mike.
Gotta put the love in there.
Yeah, so you got lucky with having a super cool name.
At least it stands out, you know?
Yeah, but I'm super stoked that you're here. I've been a fan of your music ever since seeing you on the Vita Mia a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's crazy. Really, how long ago was that? A couple years now, yeah?
Yeah, it's probably 2021. Yeah. I don't know if people can hear that.
I'm wondering.
It's the, what is it called? The tsunami warning.
Yeah, they're testing the sirens.
Yeah. So this is first of the month. So if people listening to this can hear something in the back, it's just a tsunami warning. We're not gonna cut it out because that's just how it goes here in Hawaii. And
it's good that they're testing it.
Yeah.
Good.
And if you're not from Hawaii, we have tsunami sirens every first of the month. So now you know. Yeah, but that was so cool. Just seeing you play the instruments and your voice is so soulful and loud and amazing.
Thank you, man.
I seriously was just tripping out. I've never seen that in person before.
The lap steel.
Yeah.
That's the secret weapon for me.
Yeah, no, it's so cool. I remember seeing that movie August Rush. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah, I remember
And then
that
he's like
movie.
slapping
that kid, yeah.
Yeah. That was like
the savant style.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that was like the only time I seen anything like that. So that's what it reminded me of. But you're just super multifaceted. I love what you do. And I'm excited for our guests to get to know you. And before we get into anything, I always got to start at the beginning. Where are you from? Where you grad? And what was it like growing up?
Okay. Pretty much growing up here, born and raised here, you know, I was born in Kapilani Medical Center at 9:06 a.m., bro.
Hey. Oh, you even know the time.
Yeah, and, you know, I went to schools all in Hawaii Kai side, Cocohead Elementary, you know, New Valley, Kaiser. And, but yeah, we were kind of like gypsies of Hawaii Kai. Like, I always say, like, by the time I was 17, we lived in like 17 different houses.
Oh.
We were moving a lot, you know, single mom.
Okay.
You know, food stamps, the works, you know, so, but my mom made it good. Like, I didn't even notice that didn't have money, you know, life was good. I had good friends, you know, we bounced around a lot, but I don't know, I appreciate it because it gave me the ability to be malleable and, you know, adjust and be good with change and make friends quickly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was kind of what it was like growing up, but you went Kaiser too, right?
Oh, yeah. So I'm from Big Island, moved to Kaiser my senior year of high school. I was Hawaiian immersion school before that.
You did senior over there?
Just senior year, yeah. So
wow.
I went there just to play sports.
Oh, that must have been a change for you.
Yeah, I was like going to college for the first time, especially because my Hawaiian immersion school was like 100 kids from kindergarten to first grade. And then my class at Kaiser was like 500.
So many over
1,000 people in the whole school. So it was really, and I moved by myself. My family didn't move with
what?
me. So my dad's a Kaiser grad. So he grew up in Manoa. My grandma got land in like the 70s or 80s in Hawaii Kai.
But you say you moved by yourself. You came over here alone.
Yeah, alone. Yeah.
Wow.
So I just lived with my auntie over there.
Unreal, man.
Yeah. So that's what I ended up where I ended up graduating from. So I know all the Kaiser people.
Yeah.
I know we already have mutual friends already. Yeah. I think my dad was like a 79 or 80 grad or something. 78, 79, 80 grad.
Yeah, that's like the early Kaiser because it pretty much just started, right?
That was like the OG day where like Uncle Derek Kaneshiro, legend, running back. That was like around Rich Miano's time too.
Right, Rich Miano.
Peter Kim, he was
God.
a kicker in the NFL. He kicked for Alabama.
They still have all the stuff in the case when you go in there.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I think like Bette Midler went there for a little while.
Oh,
right?
really? I didn't know that.
I think so. For like a year like you or something. Like
okay.
Just kind of, but they had her picture up when I was going there too.
Oh,
like,
super cool.
Crazy. The wind beneath my wings.
Yeah. So what was your time like growing up over there and going to Kaiser?
Yeah, well, Kaiser was I don't know. For me, high school wasn't that bad, man. I was kind of like transient dude. Like I had like my core crew. But you know how everybody in Kaiser had their like spots?
Yeah.
Like during recess, everybody has it.
Yeah.
We would kind of just roam and say what's up to all the little groups, you know?
Yeah. I was a roamer.
The roamer, exactly. So that's kind of what it was like for me. I wasn't the best at school, but I finished on time and everything. My brother and my sister got GD, so my mom was like, "You cannot. You're the youngest. You're the last hope I have. You got to get a high school degree." So I did. I stayed in, and you know, I mean, I had some great teachers. Bataluno was this band teacher. He used to let me go play drums in the band room on recess, stuff like that. Had like good art teachers back then, and I had a good time, honestly, in Kaiser.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was kind of like that was when I was becoming a musician at that time.
Yeah. So were you into music from a young age?
Yeah, I think I started like at 12.
Okay.
Ish, and then I got my first guitar at 13. So from then on, it was just like,
jamming all the time.
I wanted to be like a lawyer when I was super young.
Really?
Yeah. And then music just was like took it over.
Definitely a different career path.
Totally different, yeah. But yeah, Kaiser was good for me, I think, and I got to do a lot of music and met a lot of my first bandmates and everything over there. That's where me and Mike Love met and everything. We both went over there, and we were both into music at that time. And then we ended up kind of hooking up in college when I went to music school in LA, and we started cruising even more and stuff. And then that's when we kind of formed the band and everything. But yeah, man, I mean, you know how it is. It's like Hawaii Kai, it's pretty much still almost the same, but back then it was like, different. I feel like the kids nowadays, they don't do like what we used to do, or roll around on our bikes and just be outside all the time. Coca Marina cruising.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? If you go there now, it's not really like that anymore.
So I used to come to Oahu in the summers to visit our grandma and my auntie in Hawaii Kai. So we used to walk to Price Busters,
right?
Go to Coca, like ride bikes around the garage.
Exactly.
Listen to Avril Lavigne, ABBA in the garage.
Oh, you were in the ABBA, dude.
Yeah. I remember like my cousin, she was singing Dancing Queen and all that stuff. So that was my like summer memories on Oahu. And then I'll always be here for soccer tournaments as well. But like I remember Hawaii Kai, it seemed a lot slower and more open in a way where it's just like, people were roaming around, and I don't know.
I know things never stay the same, but I miss it like that,
Yeah.
It's a lot of, I don't know, tourists, I guess I could say, but just like more of that action, just sort of.
Transplant. Because it is a pretty, not historic, but like rooted place where generational. So like my dad went to Kaiser. Yeah. I went to Kaiser. Now I'm going to Kaiser with his friends, his classmates. And then even like their parents went to Kaiser together, or like grew up
there
in the
was a lot of that
area.
going on back then,
Yeah. So it's a very tight-knit community.
The families, the last names, they all went down. The Reeves, like they
Exactly. And then
seems now it's like more people from the mainland that rent out there, and they got their kids there. Like my son, his friends and stuff, they're it's not quite the same, And like I said, nothing's going to stay the same, but I kind of miss that about it,
Yeah. Well, back when you were going to Kaiser and living in Hawaii Kai, did it have the same stigma where it's like everybody thinks you're rich?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I didn't know that until I went to college, because I would go in the summer and we'd stay at our grandma's house. But, I always tell people, like Kalama Valley, all the nice houses on top of the mountains.
Oh, Kamihami.
Yeah. I say we live below that. So like it was just like a normal house, like big, but it wasn't like anything fancy, right?
I'd never forget. This is a good thing, because my mom was talking with Blah Pahinui.
Okay.
He used to work at District Park over there. She would always run into him. And at the time, we were living in Portlock with her current boyfriend, who was like a lawyer. He had money, whatever. And so we run into Blah at Safeway. And he goes, "Oh, where you guys staying?" I was like, "Oh, in Portlock." He goes, "Oh, you over there with the rich and famous?" And then he goes, "Oh, I stay in the neighborhood with the poor and the popular."
The poor and the popular. I like that.
Blah is a man, dude. But yeah, you have that whole neighborhood, like, what is it? By the District Park, basically.
Yeah,
There's all those old Kamilaiki side.
Yeah.
They're just like regular houses, So there's that mix, but yeah, it still has that vibe, I think. Back then it did too. Oh, you Hawaii Kai,
Yeah, you get like the
money or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just felt jiffed because I never had money.
I know. I was confused because I went to college. I mean, high school, it was just, I only knew Hawaii Kai people. I only knew Kaiser people. And I never really like hung out. Like none of my friends were like super rich and like had mansions. So I didn't know that. And then I go to Kaiser. I go to UH Manoa. And then it's like freshman classes. You're like, everybody introduce yourself, say where you're from. Be like, oh, my name's Samantha from Eva Beach. Oh, my name is like, Kikoa from Kalihi. Like, Kamaka, I live in Hawaii Kai. And they're like, oh, Hawaii Kai. I'm like, what? Well, I'm from Hilo, but
That was the first time you realized.
and I was like, why is everybody saying this? And they're like, yeah, that's like the rich side of the island.
It's
I'm
true.
Like, I didn't know that.
It's true, man.
Yeah.
Even more than like, I feel like even Kahala people don't get it as much.
I know, and Kahala is like a huge
exactly.
Russians,
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, unless you live Portlock. Portlock's like if you got a house in Portlock, then
that's like
for the most part.
Kahala Portlock. That's the big money houses, but yeah, and it's like that still yet. Even for my son Maverick, he's going to school, and especially at Cocohead Elementary, that's right by Portlock. So you got a lot of Portlock folks over there, So, but. Yeah, man, I don't know. I feel lucky, though, because Hawaii Kai, to me, I grew up over there. I'm still there now. I live in Kaleo still yet. And just that part of the island, for me, is special. It has everything,
Yeah.
It's right outside of town. You don't got to deal with the town madness. But we got good beaches over there. Yeah. We got,
You got auto stores, auto restaurants,
you need.
Costco.
And the energy over there, I just like it, man.
Yeah, well, especially Kulio, got the Reeves, got the Noahs, got all these families that's been there for a while.
That's my favorite little valley, man. I love it over there,
Yeah. And it's a lot more like local.
For sure. Yeah. It still has that old school vibe,
Yeah.
I got my mango tree. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. It's funny though when you mentioned like growing up and your mom was on food stamps and whatever. Like when you're young, you don't know like you're poor sometimes.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, until somebody says it, because you're just like, this is normal life. This is what I'm going through every single day. And then until like you go to your friend's house who has like a mansion with pool and AC. Yeah, you're like, oh wait, like. Other people live like this? Yeah, because growing up here, nobody had AC in Hilo. So that's like the thing that surprised me the most. Coming to Oahu, go to like a friend's house, I'm like, you guys got AC? This is crazy.
Oh man,
dishwasher, like
my friend's fridge is just all stocked.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah,
dang.
AC and dishwashers were like the biggest shocks
huge
to
back
me.
then.
Because nobody
had dishwashers.
no one I know in Hilo has AC or dishwashers. I know one friend in Hilo that had AC.
I remember the first time, and this is because I'm way older than you. The first time my buddy had his dad was on a cell phone, the brick style, like.
Yeah.
It's like, what is he doing? Like we're in the car, you know what I mean? He had like a cell phone car action
antenna,
and I was like, what is going on, dude? See, I got to see all that whole thing, man. Like that whole thing happened. Nobody had phones running around, and now it's just a whole nother world. Obviously, you can't really imagine life without it now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, how we distribute this podcast is all through the phones and laptops, and I can't imagine where we would be without technology. Yeah. How do you handle that as a parent now, knowing that you had a great childhood with no technology and social media, and now especially with your business and branding, you got to use it. Yeah, right, to reach more people.
As a parent, it's not as cut and dry. I can't just be like, put the kibosh on it. You cannot be on your screen because, like I said, the kids aren't running around and hanging out in person as much. Now the social construct is online. Mm-hmm. So if I take that away, then he's going to be the kid who's not cruising with everybody and getting to hang with his friends.
Because hanging out with friends could be like on the video game, talking to each other.
They're in the world together. They're chilling. That's kind of how they hang out now, So I can't really put it down, but I have to, regulate it, put timings on it and everything. And I think the best way to do that is to just make sure they got stuff to do outside of the house, right? You got to go, taekwondo class. You got to go piano. We got stuff to do. We got to go do stuff, and just take them out of the house and cruise with them. Mm-hmm. But as for business wise for me, like you said, I can't not do it. I have to be on it. I would totally give it to somebody if I could and just like delete the apps off my phone, because I like just keep. I hate is like I'm writing a song and I use my phone to write. Right, that's where I put my lyrics down and use the voice notes to drop stuff. But because of that, I'll just be like, not even realize, and the next thing I know, I'm scrolling. And it's like I wake up almost out of a trance. I go, whoa, what am I doing? I'm supposed to be writing, So it's super distracting. But like I said, it's like you too, we can't really not do it. We have to do it,
Yeah, it's really just finding that balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the toughest part. Yeah, I just had a talk, like a town hall thing with PBS about social media, the good, the bad, the ugly, and I had a bunch of different people from all walks of life talking about it. And yeah, I think there's a lot more benefits to social media than there are negativity, because there's, hate and, trolls and comparison and, that which causes depression and whatever. But it connects us with everyone around the world. You can meet somebody and keep in touch with them for the rest of your life as long as you're on social media. You can promote yourself to people all around the world that you never, ever have a chance to meet. You could meet people that you would never, ever meet. So there's a lot of benefits. It's just how do you use it,
Exactly. I was just talking about this with somebody the other day. The possibilities are amazing, right? The way that even just like one part of it, like if you look at the comment section part of it, the way that people behave.
Yeah, they're so brave, in the comment section.
But that idea, right, where ideas are able to be just done, and I feel like it's just in baby stages right now, and it still has yet to, like in everyday life, we have, when we're at the supermarket and we're dealing with people out and about, we have like general respect. You don't act a certain way, this, that, right? So I think that it has yet to like develop sort of a culture and an understanding between everybody of how we use it, because if everybody used the comment section to only add to the conversation and think about how they're going to add, it would just like exponentially improve everybody's life. And I feel like human beings as a whole would quite seriously get ahead a lot faster if we use something just as simple as the comment section, because you're able to source the whole world right there. Experts at this and that, and sometimes you see comment sections that are awesome. People are great and they're behaving and everything, but it's just the ones where, oh man.
There's also the bad egg in the bunch.
Yeah. The aggression or just I don't know. And it's my fault too. What am I even doing in there reading this stuff?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to. It's like something crazy is happening. It's hard not to like look, right? Do a double take.
I know.
Same with something on social media or Instagram. You're like, ooh, there's some drama here. Like, I don't want drama in my life, but like, I want to. Yeah. I was like, I want to read about their drama, But that's cool you said that, because in our talk, somebody brought up, I think it was like this teacher at Midpack, about the fact that we're all new to social media. Like we're all learning how to crawl and walk. Nobody was prepared for this. Like some people just aren't ready for social media. But I love the idea. He's like, we're still learning we're babibies on social media. We're learning the social constructs, like how to act and how to respect people online, because it wasn't given to us. There was no guideline. There was no handbook telling us, hey, do this and don't do this. It's like we're all figuring it out.
And even from the other side of it, from the companies that are creating it, they're still in the baby stages too, where, you see social dilemma and all that stuff. It's like, maybe there's a lot of early day stuff, or even right now, where it's generated towards profit and this and that. But naturally, like everything else, especially something this powerful, is going to grow even on their end. And they're, I believe that eventually, where it always goes to is more honest, because you can only BS people for so long before you start getting seen, and it's just a natural situation. They're going to have to be a little more authentic with their thing, and I think that's going to be beneficial all the way around if you get practices from social media companies that are geared towards the benefit rather than, profit.
I think that's what people are drawn to, is the authenticity, which is why long format stuff like this is really good, because people get to really learn about a person and see who they truly are. You can't really fake a whole 2-hour long conversation, right? It eventually wears off.
That's a good point. That's actually a great example. So I think, and like you said, social media is a really powerful tool, and it could be used for a lot of good. But we're just little babies.
Yeah, we're just little babies. Everybody, just remember, give yourself some grace.
Man.
We're all learning. The people who are mean, they're also learning. Hopefully they learn and they don't stop doing that. But
I believe it'll happen.
It is what it is. Yeah. I mean, Instagram's like 15 years less, probably like 13, 14 years old only.
I mean,
it's just a teenager.
If you think about it, think about like the U.S. mail, the postal service, right? how long has that been going? And how many things have they learned how to do since then, the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is arguably even more powerful than that as far as an informational tool, right? That's because before message in a bottle? I mean, how did you talk to people across the globe? You couldn't first, right? Then eventually you had, snail mail, whatever, fast forward way. But this right here, it's immediate. The amount is insane. So I don't know. I'm going to keep using it,
Yeah.
I'm going to keep using the technology. I'm not the type of person who could go move in the woods.
Yeah.
I used to think I wanted to do that.
I always say that too. I want to just go to the cabin in the woods for a while, get away from everything.
Dude, in my hippie 20s days, I even lived in the mountains for a while, dude. But now I know I couldn't do it. I need to be around everybody. I like being in the city, being able to go check shows out. And so I'm here for it, man.
Yeah.
I want to be present with everybody, part of the world we're living in.
Yeah, it's nice to be involved in a community. One thing I also want to touch on social media before we move on, because I've been talking to Jordan, our producer, videographer here, about things that go on in the world. There's so many social movements and so how this came up was I was on an Instagram live watching Hungry Hawaiian News.
Oh, yep.
And he's always documenting things. Recently there's a barricade in Waikiki. There was all these railing falling off of a beach, whatever. And then the night I joined, it was around 9 or 10 o'clock at night. It was a guy in Waikiki hanging off a railing, about to jump, and HPD was there trying to get him. And the guy jumped. And it was crazy reading the comments. People were saying do a gainer, bomb him, jump. I'm
oh,
people are really saying this. I know it's a joke, but
that's not the time for that.
How are the disconnect between reality and just a phone screen, right? And then we always say the same thing where it's how crazy times we live in, right? Oh man, it's all these things happening. It's so crazy. But the thing is, all this has always been going on. Going back, it's just because of social media, we see it.
That's my opinion too.
Yes, all the police brutality, these social movements, the wars around the world, it's been going on for centuries. The only thing, imagine if we had social media doing Kamehameha's Day. He was literally killing everybody to unite the islands. Somebody would be yo, I'm right over here. Dude, Kamehameha just stabbed this guy with one spear. That was nuts, imagine somebody Instagram living all of our elites.
Everything nowadays is all scrutinized too,
Yeah. So I don't think anything has changed, or there's been more violence than there's ever been. I think there's just been more contact with
and coverage
of it. Yes.
Yeah. That's I had that thought too a while back. We talked about that, and that's exactly what I think it is. There's just everybody can see everybody now, and everything, bullying, all of that. It's just more, there's videos everywhere of it, and it's a good and a bad thing, I guess.
Exactly. The good thing is people have got to be more aware and hold themselves accountable, because they're I can't be a mean person. Especially if you're a public figure. You're I can't do anything crazy because somebody's going to record me. And I think this is the difference between the musicians back in the day, Kelly Boy DeLima, all of them, party crazy.
It was a different culture.
It's a different culture. I talked to the older musicians and whatever.
The rock and rollers.
Yeah, even my sister-in-law's mom, who's a flight attendant, and she's oh yeah, I used to party with that person all the time. Oh yeah, we had some crazy times. And people are a little bit more behaved.
Not like that
I think because of social media.
Yeah, and I think also part of that too is it's not what it used to be. You don't get swept up and discovered. You have to kind of, tooth and nail it every day. If you're going to be successful in music, you actually have to be responsible now. You can't just I got picked up and I just party all the time and everybody just takes care. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
Everything's a lot more, I don't know, you got to kind of basically be your own businessman now,
Yeah. So going back to your story, how did you end up really getting into music and discovering that this is what you want to do as a career?
Yeah, the beginning of it was my mom took me to this friend's house up in the Poly. They had this nice spot, and they had a little adult party, whatever. And I was like the one kid there hanging out. I think it was like 11 or 12.
Mm-hmm.
And the nephew of the guy who was throwing the party, his name was Habib. He played like classical guitar for everybody. And I still remember it very vividly. I was like in a trance, like just was watching the dexterity of his fingers and just how amazing it was, you know? After that, I followed him around the whole party and like, can you show me something? Can you show me something? And that was the moment right there where I was obsessed with it, bugging my mom for a guitar every day. You know, she couldn't really give me a guitar. It's expensive, you know? So, you know, and eventually my dad ended up sending one over from Maui, and I, you know, that was like the beginning. And ever since then, I just kind of, you know, we didn't have YouTube, so I had to just like rewind, listen, rewind, listen. It was slow going for us musicians back in the day, dude.
That's crazy. We forget about that too.
Yeah.
How you have the Tabs app, you have just YouTube tutorials.
Videos were just like live performances, and we had to just like
try to like look at their fingers.
Yeah, if we had the YouTube thing, that would have, oh my God, I would have been so awesome. But then again, I feel like too that it creates different musicians, you know, from back then, just because of the need to do it. You know, you have to kind of really be like obsessed with it if you're gonna do stuff like that, right? Anyway, so yeah, I got into it, and then music school after that. After I graduated Kaiser, I went to Hollywood Musicians Institute, and that was like you going from over there to here. It was like going to LA was like, oh my God, like it was crazy out there. I would never live there again, but it was a good time for me to go out and learn my craft and all that stuff, you know. But then after I graduated there, I came back and just pretty much, I think it was like 2000, and I started gigging, and that was the last time I had like a regular job. I just played music after that. Like,
wow.
I just went all in, you know, and there were a lot of times where I didn't have any money. I was sleeping on couches, but I made that decision at one point where I said, okay, I could kind of have a job and then do this, or I could just do this full-time, only, you know?
And there's a conscious decision that no matter how hard it gets, no matter how terrible the days are, you're just going to keep going.
Just keep doing it.
Because this is what you love.
Yeah. I mean, luckily, you know, I have a supporting family. My mom, my brother, my sister, everybody was always there for me if I was in trouble. So I was never in any real danger anyway. So yeah, I'm, you know, and if I didn't do that, I probably would have veered off at some point, you know, to comfort land and security. You know?
Yeah. So you're pretty good at being uncomfortable at an early age, and you're aware of that, which is good, because that's where growth comes from.
Coming back to that, that's probably right. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was like your rose and thorn being in LA, like a highlight and like a you know, a low light, you know, like thorn is something bad, a rose is something really beautiful and good?
I think the rose was my sort of musical coming of age. When I went there, I was just a guitar player, didn't sing at all. Never had any desire to sing. I just wanted to play the guitar. Sing? No, I was terrible. I'm a terrible singer.
Wow.
My mom always says, you know, I came out to this world like a frog, like wah. And my brother, my sister, my mom, they're all amazing singers. But I always had that froggy thing. So they was like, oh, no, just, you know. But I ended up, when I went there, I started to like learn how to play and sing for the first time, and I fell in love with it. So if that didn't happen, I mean, I wouldn't be
doing what you're doing now.
What I'm doing now. Yeah. So that's the rose. And the thorn was the discovery of, what is it? Unauthentic. That, like how people
fake
are.
Fake people.
Yeah. They're like talking to you, but they're not even like there, you know? There was a lot of that over there.
I hear that about LA a lot, and I don't want to generalize it.
No, I mean, because
I know there's good
people who were born and raised in LA are awesome. But it's like the people who are like there to be like famous and all this, you know?
And that's pretty much what the majority has become.
it happened. That's when I started noticing it happened to me. And I'll be completely honest, I could feel it happening to me, just being like concerned about what I look like. And it became, it's just like hard to not fall into that. So that's when I moved back. I was like, I got freaked out because I always came home for like holidays and everything. And it was just like so immediate. I would get off the plane, I would be with my mom, pick me up from the airport or whatever. And I'm just like, oh my God, oh yeah. Oh yeah. It just, so it weirded me out. No offense to anybody in LA. And, there's a lot of great art that comes out of that city. It is what it needs to be, but it wasn't for me, So that was the thorn, I think, for that.
Yeah. And I think just to sum it up, it takes a certain person to be able to be in LA and like that kind of lifestyle,
Yeah, and I know there are people that don't get swept up in the fakeness of it and they're able to keep themselves real, but it's at that age, 18, 19 years old.
Yeah, it's tough, yeah.
Oh, it's just like, whoa,
That's when your brain is still developing and you're learning all of it. And then when you're in an environment like that, it's hard not to be influenced by all of it.
I agree.
Yeah. Dang. So you came back, how many years after? How long were you in LA?
What? Like almost 2.5, 3 years.
Okay. And then you came back, and you were there with Mike Love?
He was out there too.
Okay. Yeah. But did he stay longer?
No, when I came back, he came back.
Okay, so you both came back together.
Yeah.
And you had the band up there or back in Hawaii?
When we came back is kind of when we playing a lot up there. And then when we moved back over here, actually, that's how when I moved back over here, I couldn't do LA anymore. He was there and he's like, dude, I have nobody to jam with anymore. So he came back. And then we just started hanging out every single day, playing music together. We would just walk around everywhere with our guitars. And then I got this little coffee shop gig in Hawaii Kai Shopping Center. It was like Saturdays or whatever. And I was like, dude, will you play this gig with me? And he's like, no way. Because he was like, didn't like getting on stage, right? He was very, no way I'm going to do that, right? And I'm like, you're so awesome, please, like. And so I convinced him one time to do it. And then from that point on, we just started playing every gig together and, started a group together. Melodious Solutions is what we called it. And then eventually we got like Brad BW on bass and Samites on drums.
What?
And that was the crew.
This is a legendary...
For like 4.5 years we were together.
What? Are there videos of this or?
There's some videos, and we have the one album, the only album that's out there is the KTUH Monday Night Live that we did.
Oh, wow.
It was like, I think like 12 or 13 songs on that thing.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how it all began. And then, and then naturally went our own directions or whatever, but just remained best friends all the way through.
Wow, that's crazy because I know all those names, and I wasn't into the music scene. I wouldn't say I still am into the music scene, but I know a lot more because of people I talk to and all the research that I have to do, and just like talking stories like this. Like the other day, we were talking about me and another friend were talking about B-Dub, Brad, and we're like, that guy's a legend. That dude, man. Yeah, because I think. I forget how it came up, but maybe we were talking about like different styles. But my friend Elijah Sky, he told me to tell you hi.
Yeah,
I go sauna and code plunge with him. So we ended up talking about music, and Brad's name came up because maybe we were talking about Ukla or certain bands, and he's like, yeah, Brad's like a low-key legend. Like that guy would be like 17 years old playing keyboard, and like he's telling me he had like this really emo look.
For
and,
sure.
Like, he would never think
he was like 16. Like, it was like, but then you put him on an instrument, you're like, what? Like he was a hammer from the beginning.
Yeah, and then he looked totally different than what he used to. And even you had a totally different look as well.
Back in the days, man. But yeah, so in the same thing, so that's true. I mean, it was a really solid crew. Those 4 people we're all still buddies, and like, we kind of so that's how that all went down. Melodious Days, and then Mike started doing his solo stuff and looping and everything.
Oh, geez.
And that was unreal to watch unfold. Started off with just like a little loop or whatever. And then, I mean, he just starts like...
And then you got permanent
reinventing
holiday.
the wheel, man. I would easily call him one of the best loopers and
100%.
most innovative loopers that ever existed. And so that happened for him at like O'Toole's. That he built that through, and I was doing my Waikiki kind of trip too. And I the reason why that naturally separated was because he got more and more into reggae music, and I was always kind of a blues and rock guy, and I don't know, it seemed like me and Willie K had that conversation. He went through the same kind of road as me, where there wasn't a lot of people interested in blues, but that's what we wanted to do, or rock and blues and guitar stuff, And but eventually it worked out for Willie, and he became just jamming with all the huge rock and roll legends and having his huge blues fests and stuff. You have like Steven Tyler and like Mick Fleetwood and just like, just legendary concerts. And because he stuck to his guns. And so that's kind of what happened with me. I just stayed decided to just do what I like to play, and there was a lot of time of just like empty places, like just me and the bartender in there, But I think it ended up working out, and now life is good. I mean, I'm able to put food on the table for my son, and I couldn't be more grateful for that.
Yeah, you have some. I don't know if it's like residencies at certain places. Like I know you're always at Fire. Sure.
Oh no, that one.
That was last year?
Yeah, last year I did have a residency there.
I remember always seeing your name over there.
They kind of flipped up their thing for 2024, but my residency now is Slack Key Lounge at Hawaiian Brian's.
Oh, okay.
That's tonight actually.
Oh, okay, right on.
Yeah, I like that place. It's like solid sound, and it's a nice showroom. It can be intimate, talk story with the audience and everything. And then I just started a residency, gonna start over in Maui at Mulligan's.
Oh, that's cool. And they fly you out?
Yeah, and that's actually awesome. Where Willie, that was his house, Mulligan's.
Cool.
He did it I think he had like a weekly show there. So I'm trying to do it like that right now, just kind of, play here, play on all the other islands too, just make my rounds, and it's been working out pretty good. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I saw you last time I saw you was at the Nalu Health Bar grand opening last year. You're just in that
in Waikiki.
Yeah,
that's right.
Grass area.
Whatever. Those guys had a crazy opening. There was like everybody was there.
Yeah,
I was like, whoa.
They invited me. I'm like, Tavana's playing. This is cool.
Those guys are cool, super cool dudes.
Yeah.
They started in North Shore.
Yeah, they have a Haleiwa. They have one in South Shore. I think they had one in Kailua. I'm not sure. And then they have one in Waikiki now, the one that you were at for the grand opening.
Those guys are killing it.
Yeah, they're awesome. I actually live right next to one of the owners.
Oh,
yeah,
right on.
Yeah, Chris, the female.
I think, yeah. I can't remember who hired me, but
yeah. But right on. So, coming back, you got into that band, and then you ended up going solo.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so what was your career path from there? It was just gigging, recording albums.
Like 6-7 gigs a week. Just because I mean, back when I was starting out, it was like some of the gigs were like $50, $70.
Oh, so you really had to like
in order to pay my rent, I had to just be sometimes doubles, a few doubles a week. I mean, I was stacking the gigs. There's a lot of guys doing that now too, and I did that for so many years. And if I'm being honest, a lot of that came with that service industry sort of Waikiki scene, which in my 20s, it's easy to get swept up in that. And then also with the covers, it's a hard thing to break out of that mold where you're in bars or wherever and you're playing a bunch of covers, you know what I mean? Just because that's what people recognize. Mm-hmm. And then it's hard to go, well, I want to play an original, and it just feels weird. And there was a lot of years there where if I was to go back, I would just do the originals right off the bat,
really?
And that was a lot of that. But finally, I started to get the courage to do that. And a lot of it had to do with when I found the slide and I lost my loop pedal. That's a lot of that happened then. I ended up cutting my thumb right here, that huge scar is.
Oh, wow.
Sliced right through it, and I couldn't do this for like 3 months, so I wasn't able to play a regular guitar.
Oh, so that's why. It was out of necessity.
It was out of necessity. I was like freaking out. I was like, what am I going to do? And I ended up making a lap steel because I know I could keep my thumb straight. But I didn't know how to do it, So I just brought it to gigs and I was like, sounded terrible, but I did it. And I kept my gigs, for those months while my thumb was healing. And then I ended up falling in love with the slide. And I think that's right then when I started to realize my sound or find it, I guess, discover it. And that was like, it's funny because it was like, what, 10 years ago? Even though I've been playing music for long, almost 30 years or whatever, right? Sometimes it just takes that long, like go the long way around. But it's not as if it wasn't great the whole time, Even when I was out there playing covers, it was a good life, but it could easily become that forever, though,
Yeah, and you're just a cover band.
Yeah. And then that's all that ended up happening, Yeah. So I'm glad that, it went the way that it did, but that's kind of how I ended up breaking out of it, I think, was just honestly like cutting my thumb. It's trippy.
And that's just a great lesson for when something bad happens, you never know if something good's going to come out of it.
Yeah, they have that. You probably heard the
Chinese proverb.
Yeah, I love that thing. It's so true, man. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I love that.
That's how that went down for me, was a couple of accidents. Didn't have the loop pedal, so I started stomping on the stage. And then so I was like, oh, that's cool. So I brought the kick drum out. And then cut my thumb, so I had to play the slide, Just like weird, just accidental happenings turning into like lemonade, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, you could have been like, oh, well, I can't play anymore. This sucks. Let me just take a break. But you're like, no, let me just figure out another way to do it. And that maybe comes from your childhood, from always having to adapt to situations.
There it comes back around again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man.
I think everything that happens in life, whether we realize it or not, it has an effect on us. Good and bad.
Good and bad.
There's trauma that, that happens. And I don't think trauma always has to be like terrible. Like it could be like,
it's like burning your hand on a fire,
Yeah, exactly.
You learn.
Then not to do that.
you learn.
Yeah.
That's definitely true for me. Even a lot of my best songs came from heartbreak and being in pain and emotionally and needing to like have that writing experience to kind of process it.
That's good trauma because it inspires you to be better.
I think you can't have art without that,
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of the best songs come out of heartbreak or like inspiration. I think that's the hardest part because I'm a writer as well. The hardest part for me isn't the writing, it's finding inspiration.
Yeah.
Because like, okay, I can write, I could rhyme stuff, but what do I write about?
Yeah, man. It's funny because I was just talking about this with somebody. Like when I was early days, I had all the time in the world to write. I barely wrote. I mean, maybe, I don't know, it was like probably like 3-4 songs a year, And then when I had my son, all of a sudden all my time was gone. And I would have these little windows of 15 minutes while he's napping or whatever, right? And I would use it. And all of a sudden I'm going, look, this is good. Done. Done. And by doing that, I realized that I was overthinking everything before. And I think you need to just let the things come out, finish them, and you just get better at that. And also your songs or whatever you're creating the finished product ends up being closer to the raw thing you started, which sometimes if you go too long with something, you beat the original energy out of it by over perfecting it, that kind of thing,
Yeah, trying to force something.
Yeah, so the fact that my son was over there, whatever, I had all this stuff to do, I had to use the time that I had. I had no more choice anymore,
But that didn't feel forced in some ways? Like
it should have, but it ended up being the opposite effect for me.
I wonder if it's different for everybody.
It could be, yeah. And for me, it had that effect where I stripped away all the nonsense and it was like, it's kind of like throw me in the water, have to swim kind of thing.
Yeah, like a fight or flight response. Yeah.
For me, it worked out better. And now in terms of like, I don't, what am I going to write about anymore? It's like a practice, like yoga for people. Like for me, it's daily, every day, drop the boy off at school, come home, grab the guitar, play, think. It's just every day. So I never have to worry about, did I write something worthy today? It doesn't matter. I got another session tomorrow coming up. It's just every day. You know what I mean? And that works for me. instead of it being like, I don't know. I guess I found out that I don't have to put so much importance or stress on whether or not I'm going to write something and whether or not it's going to be good or bad. It's just something I do every day now. And then I go back to my stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot about this one. And I listen back. I'm like, oh, I like that. And then I'll turn it into something, you know?
Yeah. Awesome. That's how I am too. Cause maybe in my college days, I would write a lot of poetry, but I feel like the last couple of years, I haven't really wrote anything. I guess I'm just so busy and focused on other things.
Have you ever tried like the poetry nights they do?
No, I don't. Like, people have told me. I used to post to YouTube and
oh yeah, okay, you did it on camera.
Yeah, but cool. No, I wasn't really into like spoken word.
Oh, I'm gonna go find your stuff, bro.
Like I have some pretty good stuff, but I just would share it with people like this. But I don't. It was cool because I wrote a poem about Tetris back in college, and then I interviewed Hank Rogers, the guy who got the rights from Tetris. So I read him the poem in his podcast. So it was a cool moment. But I'm just. It's more of just something that I like to do, and I like rhyming because I like rap, you know. Yeah. So it's not so much like the crescent moon shines on the beautiful lake. It's a lot just fun, playful stuff, rhythm. Yeah. And I'm not a rapper, so it's just a fun way to express myself. But I think one change maybe because I don't think I had ways to express myself growing up. So I think poetry was the way I did that. And now I'm at a point where I can just speak openly and be vulnerable about everything. So maybe that's why I don't need that outlet anymore.
Sure. Yeah, I think that helped you get there, you know?
Yeah, possibly. Because early on, I would never write about myself. I would write about other people, what I see and observe. And it wasn't until maybe mid-20s when I would actually write something about me.
It's hard, at first, you're like, ooh, I don't want to talk about
and share that with people.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, I've been telling my audiences lately, I really think it's super important for people to have something like that, you know? Go pick up an ukulele or whatever. Just like, don't put so much pressure on, am I talented or whatever. Like, it's just something that's good for your health, you know? You have to be out there being creative. And even musically, I think, back in the village tribal days, music was everybody's. Everyone in the village sang. Nobody was like, oh, I don't do that. I'm not a musician. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Through the last 100 years, we created this culture where it's like, oh, you either have it or you don't. You know what I'm saying?
That's so true.
And that's never been true in human. It's belonged to all human beings. That's the one defining feature between us and the animals. We're all musicians.
There's this social pressure now where you don't want to sing if you sound bad.
Yeah,
unless you're just one of those people that don't care and you're just
you
should.
I think everybody should be doing it in their life. It's a part of being a human being, and to realize that you don't have to do it for anybody else anyway. You know, you can just be at home, pick it up, jam out. You know,
it is almost an innate thing, singing, because even those who don't sing don't think that they sing well. They sing in their shower. They sing when they're by themselves in the car.
Yeah.
Because I say I don't sing, and I don't. And I don't sing in the shower, but like I sing along to certain songs, like while driving.
If you're driving, you know a song.
Rapping. But then put another person next to me, I'll like,
that's what I mean. It's so wild. Yeah. I think that's only happened over the last, recent history, whatever.
Yeah.
Because of the stardom thing. We put in the voice and all this stuff. Like it's really, it's hard to do that now for people, you know?
That's so interesting, the way you put that together.
But, my point is to people out there, I think it's a very human thing to do. And I think it would improve a lot of people's lives to just be musical in some way. You know?
Yeah. I don't play any instruments. I mean, in school you probably have an ukulele class. So I remember doing that. But like surf, everybody learned surf.
Oh yeah.
And then I was in Madagascar for 3 years in the Peace Corps, so I picked up guitar a little bit, but never really stuck with it. And then singing is one thing that I always wish I could do, because I mean, you can sing. That's like the coolest talent ever. Like. To be a good singer is
honestly
way cooler than
I still trip out on like my boys like Thunder and Ron Artis. Like their voices are incredible. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, see me, I figured out a way to use my frog. like, Dylan or Lightning Hopkins, or like, there's like a lot of guys who they're not singers, but they can sing. They write songs and they, put their voice out there and it's good. But guys like Ron and Thunder and some of these guys, they're just the control you hear is out of this world, man.
Mm-hmm.
And even just listening to it feels good.
Yeah.
Hearing it come out.
It touches your soul.
Yeah, you can feel it,
Yeah. Which I hear when you're singing, like those really like loud parts. Like in your song Mystery, where it's like it has like a build up and then you're like dun, dun, and it's just like roar, and I'm just like, yeah, I feel it in my soul.
See, for me that's exactly what it is when I'm playing. It's like it's like punching a bag or something. Like I'm getting my
warming up, yeah,
whatever's in here and just stuck in here, I can just get it out, and I think that's why I don't think I could not do it anymore. Like if I go even a few days without playing, I start to feel weird.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that's like anything that you love to do. If you don't, I mean, it could even be like a food that you like to eat. Like for me, if I don't eat rice for a couple of days, I start getting like rice cravings, Or now it's like if I'm not able to exercise, if I don't surf for like a week, I'm just like, you get
probably
antsy.
This even too.
Yeah, even doing this, I'm just like,
I've been doing this for a while.
Recorded in a while, like, and then you do it again, you're like, this feels a little weird.
Because when we do the thing we love, we kind of get like a dopamine rush.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess same with seeing people that you're friends with, that you love. It's like the same thing. Yeah.
Those are the good addictions in life.
Yeah.
It's the ones we got to be chasing after and line up in our days.
I like that. Yeah. Just chase the good addictions. Awesome. We'll take a quick shishi break and we'll be right back. Are you looking for a game that's guaranteed to make you laugh at your next party? You need to check out Moat Gabs, the newest card game designed right here in Hawaii for locals by locals. Race against the clock as you read seemingly random phrases that sound like gibberish at first, like Pio Gold Mango, or Heat Wood Go, or something like Male Lay Cow Liki Maka, until you figure out the local phrase. Mele Kaliki Maka, Eddie Would Go, and Pickle Mango. Each card has phrases that could be a person, place, or thing, but any local should know them. They just might not understand it at first. Moat Gabs, the fun kind game where you read the gibberish out loud to decode the local phrase. Immerse yourself in the underwater wonders of Hawaii's marine life with Hawaii Ocean Charter's hands-on guided snorkeling tours. Whether it's your first time falling in love with Waikiki or you're rediscovering its beauty just like me, there is no better way to see it than from the ocean. Personally, it was one of the best things I have done this year. I got to snorkel with some turtles and fishes, and I was able to catch the coolest sunset over the water. Conveniently located in Kaka'ako with online booking and live availability, finding the perfect day on the water couldn't be easier with them. Ride in style on their unique and well cared for power catamaran that offers all the amenities you need. Locally owned and operated, their friendly crew lives for sharing their love for the ocean with others. Sunset cruises, guided snorkeling tours, whale and dolphin watching, coastal sightseeing, and fireworks shows are among the tours their guests love the most. Use code KIA50 to get $50 off of your next charter. We're back from a quick shishi break. Mahalo to Shakati for providing the best quality shishi. always making me shishi. Okay, so let's get into the social media fan questions presented by Texaco in Hawaii. First question comes from Avadada. He says, how did he start playing the steel guitar? Which you kind of already talked about. So maybe I'll just change up the question a little bit. Like, what do you love most about playing the steel guitar? Unless you have anything else to add about how you started playing.
No, yeah. So like I said before, right, is that injury that started it. But one thing that I think the reason why I really started loving it is because the steel guitar, there's no frets, right? So you're not anchored down. You have to listen in order to be where you need to be. Mm-hmm. You can't just trust, with regular guitar, you play the chord, you're playing the chord. As long as the guitar's in tune, you're playing a G chord, G minor, or whatever. With the steel, you have to listen for where you are because it's like this, So it's easy to go sharp or flat. Same thing with the vocals, right? Same thing. There's no frets. It's like you have to listen. So with two of those things on top of each other, it put me in a very present in the song more than I'd ever experienced before, because I had to be super focused on those two things being together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So are you like looking down at it? Like, are you at the point where you don't have to look, or you always have to look?
Yeah, no, I don't have to look, but yeah, it's like when you're playing regular guitar, you almost can just forget about what you're playing and not really. Sometimes you fall into the trap of not listening and not being there with the song. But with the steel, you have to. It's forced. You have to be listening. Otherwise, because even if you're looking, you know what I mean, it's still not enough. You have to really listen to make sure that you're there, because you're not anchored on anything. And it's the same thing with the voice. So it's like these two things are going like this, and if you're not paying attention, they can get way out of whack. You know.
So does that make it harder to focus on like the gigs and stuff? Well, because I feel like it's like doing this and doing this, right?
Yeah, everything's like that at first, you know? It's like even learning a C chord at first when you don't know how to do it, it's like that. But once you do it all the time, next thing you know, now it's just one motion. Even with, you know, playing kick and everything while I'm doing it now, that's not like, okay, kick, tambourine, this, that. Like, it's not like all like separated. Now everything's just one thing. And I just...
Yeah, and then it just becomes second nature. It's like with anything, like a bit of muscle memory.
And then so after that, once that's like that, now what I'm focusing on is just dynamic and inflection and fun. You know, how am I going to do it this time?
Yeah, giving it a little flair. And,
yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Next question comes from Trip Hutchins. Thoughts on music theory. Is it important, or is it more important to explore the guitar?
I think it's like learning your ABCs. You need to learn ABCs and how to read, but when you're talking to somebody, you're not thinking about all the letters you're saying. You know what I mean? You already know it now, and now you use it. You know, so you have to. It's good to know, but eventually you're just gonna forget it, and just it's second nature. Like, again, same thing. And so exploring, I think, to answer the question, I think the latter.
Is it like learning a language while just speaking with somebody versus learning on paper? Kind of like that?
Similar, yeah. Same thing. It's like the logic versus the freedom of it.
Yeah, and music theory is just like when like learning classically, like when reading notes.
Right, like, you know, chord progressions, keys, sharps, flats, all that stuff.
Instead of like you just telling me like, hey, play this chord, play this chord.
I think the way I could put it is like this. There's a lot of people who went to Juilliard or Berklee School of Music, and they are great. They can sight read anything. The most intense piece they can sight read. But if you ask them to improvise, they're lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're on that side so much. They need that there to tell them what to do, and they've never explored the instrument.
Okay, yeah, I understand. You know? Yeah, it's just, okay. I feel like that's the same. Where I learn guitar, I can't play anything unless I'm looking at the tabs.
Right.
You tell me to do something, I'm like, I don't know.
Whereas I think the goal is to use that to learn it, but then put it away.
Yeah.
And then what else can you do with this? You know?
Interesting. Okay. So as a foundation, music theory is good, but you would say just exploring on your own can take you.
Yeah, you have to do that. You have to learn what you need to learn, you know, the scholastics of it, but then you're going to have to, if you really want to play music, actually. You have to play it. You know, you have to let it go.
Yeah, I always think it's so impressive how when people jam together and they just all know, or like they're like, hey, can you play this? And then somebody's playing it and they kind of just listen and they play along with it, or they do the drums to it, or they do
it's
another.
It's the funnest thing in the world,
It's the coolest thing to me, because I'm like, you got to be so talented to do that. Just to listen to something and be like, even if you don't know how to play that song, and then you can do it.
It's like a language, you know?
It's so cool.
Yeah. That's why even now, like, I have to have those gigs where I have those guests that come in, because it's like what you do, you know? If I just keep doing solo gigs, it's fine, but I have to have that element of playing with others, you know?
Yeah.
To scratch that itch. It's important for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I love Kanikupila sessions. I don't even have to play anything. If anything, they give me the
Yeah, that's it right there.
But it's just so cool seeing everybody sing and just hearing the talent. I love it so much. And so it's such a cool part of our culture.
Agreed.
A very tribal part of our culture. Along with the Filipinos. My theory is all Filipinos can sing.
Oh my gosh.
Nobody can tell me otherwise. Even if you say, no, I can't. Like, no, I'm just not going to believe it. My head is said that all Filipinos can sing. Yes, it's a stereotype, but I believe it.
It's true.
Yeah. It's like, they're like, no, I don't sing karaoke. And then they're just like
Just
killing it. There's a video I saw recently on that. It's like this girl saying like, oh no, I don't sing. And then as soon as somebody gives her the mic, she goes off on like this Whitney Houston song. It's a funny video like that. Okay. Next question comes from Kalae Music. Is it Kalae? Kalae.
Yeah, Kalae. Is that my homie?
Yeah, I think that's a friend. I know it's another musician. I've seen him before.
So Parish, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. Is it Kalae or Kalae?
Kalae,
okay.
Technically.
Yeah. He says, if you could collaborate with anyone, who would it be and why?
Oh, gosh, it's like a kid in a candy store question.
Right, yeah.
Well, we're supposed to do something together. I'm excited for that.
Okay, that's exciting.
You, brother.
That's the answer he was fishing for that answer. Well, what if we narrow it down a little bit? If you could collaborate with anyone dead and one alive. Okay, and we'll narrow it down a little bit too. One in Hawaii, one outside of Hawaii, and dead or alive. It's up to you.
Okay. I would probably Hawaii. Not around anymore. I wish I could have done more with Willie K. Outside of Hawaii, you know what? I'd love to collaborate with Ben Harper. That would be fun for me to do.
What songs is he? I've heard that name before.
He did like "Steal My Kisses." It's probably one of his big songs or whatever. But I've been a huge fan of his, and I just love his songwriting and stuff. And he had a lot of influence on me, so that would be like one of these like, whoa, you know, that would be cool. But there are so many. It's such a I really don't like those kind of questions. I'm like, no.
Yeah, because if you don't say it, it's like when you're doing a thank you speech. And if you start naming one person, you got to make sure you name everyone else or somebody's going to get hurt. Okay, we can just say... That's why I feel like giving you an option of someone outside of Hawaii makes it a little bit better.
You narrowed that down.
Okay, we'll just leave it at that. Jerry_Salamante ask... shout out to Jerry, by the way, always leaving good questions for our guests. Can you tell us about your friendship with Mike Love, origin, history, etc.? One great story to tell. So you talked about it a little bit, but if you have a good story to tell, that's also part of the question. Yeah.
Okay, so this one time we were just kind of starting out. It was early days, like I said, playing at the coffee shop, stuff like that. And we keep like, we gotta write songs. And we had this bright idea that we were gonna go in the mountains, up in Kaleo at the top, and we're gonna go there all weekend, just me and him, and write all weekend. And we had our little tape recorder we were gonna bring, right? But since we planned on staying for a couple of days, we had all this stuff we were gonna bring. We had like some food, all these backpacks, like a lot of stuff, plus the guitars in hard cases. And that's a pretty long hike. So we're hiking up there and we just keep stopping. We're so tired. Eventually we just start leaving stuff in the bushes on the way up. And we end up just getting up there with just our guitars. And we have to keep going fetch everything. Like it was the most not smart way to do what we did. And then we ended up going up there for one night and coming back with like 0 songs.
It was a grand idea. That was just...
The tape recorder was just full of us just cracking up and just cruising and talking story. One little riff here and there. But I don't think one song came out of that whole thing, But that was a good memory for us.
That's funny. I think you guys have to do it again and try to recreate it. Get that song.
Let's give it one more try.
Go up like a hill or something. It doesn't have to be a whole hike. What about like Makapu? Makapu is really easy. It's paved.
Just go up to the lighthouse.
Yeah, let's go to the lighthouse.
For 45 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. You guys have stuff to do, You don't have as much free time.
Funny thing is, we would come out with way more than we did that time.
Well, Mike, if you're listening to this, that's my suggestion.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's funny. So you two are really close.
Super close, yeah. We talk all the time. He'll call me when he's driving from state to state,
Awesome. Because he's in Washington right now, right?
Yeah. Based out of there, but always moving and always gigging. He's killing it. I'm super proud of him.
Super cool. Yeah. I love connecting the dots and seeing learning all the history of all these musicians. Like my brother's into roots, so he always talks about dub conscious.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, Kamaka, you don't even like reggae if you don't even know dub conscious." He's like, "Bro, name one song." I'm like, I don't know, because he was like in the days like we're going to Tropics
days, yeah, man.
And he always mentions that, and I'm like Paula and Mike Love, and then B Dub, all of them.
And when it was all happening, I don't think everybody really knew how cool that scene was.
Yeah.
It was exploding with like creativity and bands and music. It was a good time to be around, man.
Yeah.
Tropics days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so some bands that they had back in the days that just produced all these hammers.
That are still going, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like when you watch an old TV show or movie and you realize had all these like really prominent actors in those, and now you see them like, what, they were in this all together?
That's freaking young Courtney Cox or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of the same feeling that I get. I remember like learning about the show Freaks and Geeks. Oh yeah, remember that one?
I see that.
They had like Seth Rogen, James Franco, and a bunch of their crew, and like a bunch of Paul Rudd.
I don't think I saw it until later.
I only watched it a couple of years ago, but I was like, oh, all these people were in a show together before. That's so cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Same thing. Back in that time, all these BW, I mean, everybody was out in the scene doing a bunch of stuff, but now you see where everybody's at now, and it's like, wow, man, like that's where it all began, right?
Yeah.
That scene. Tropics, they had that place, Bliss. Like there were all these like venues that were. That's one of the things I hope to change in the music scene, is that bringing like a scene back for people. It seems really fragmented right now.
Yeah, I feel like the Gallery Waikiki.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like
that's kind of starting to build.
Yeah, and it's all these young musicians, basically all Jordan's friends and stuff. But yeah, it makes me wonder like who's the next generation of all these things, because we're talking about this in the past, and there's people doing this in the present right now. So I wonder who it's gonna be. Like I'm friends with Dylan Pukele, Kelana, all these younger people coming up.
Kelana like killing it.
She's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Kelana. She's in New York right now, I think.
Yeah, she's out. Yeah. Right. Yeah, East Coast.
She has one of my favorite voices. Yeah, and then like you see like people like Kimi and Anuhea. I'm like Ellie Mack. You're like, okay, so who's the next Kimi? Who's the next Anuhea? Who's the next? So I always wonder those things and try to keep my eyes on those people, especially on my podcast now, because I want to follow people.
Well, you have a good vantage point.
Exactly. Yeah, and the best reason to connect with these people. That's the coolest thing about the podcast, is like someone like you. I'm like, I'm a fan. Let me just message him and I can go talk stories with him. Without this, it's not like, if I'm a random person and they're like, hey, Tavana, you want to come talk story for 2 hours? You're going to be like, either not respond or be
you
like.
the skeleton key right now. You're like, what's up? Okay, shoots.
No, exactly. Yeah. Because I get people that message me like, blah, blah, blah. I love your podcast. Hey, we should talk story about all these things and we should work on this thing. I'm like, I don't even know you. Yeah. And these are just like random people.
Guaranteed that's going to happen more and more, where you got to kind of sift through.
Yeah. And I usually tell people I don't like to say, one thing that I've been doing is I don't like to say I don't have time, because we all have time.
True.
No matter how busy you are. If you're scrolling on social media, if you're watching a TV show when you get home, if whatever, you don't have time to prioritize certain things. So I was just say like, I can't prioritize it, like, or I don't have time to prioritize that.
It's always the best policy. Yeah. Just be straight up.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised, man. You say no the right way, and just to be honest.
That's respectful, and
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could right now. I would feel overwhelmed if I put this on my plate right now. Something like that.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
it's true.
I got a lot going on.
Yeah,
you could lie a little bit. Like, I got a lot going on, but you just want to watch a TV show.
Like to the degree that so that you're not rude.
Yeah.
That's allowed.
Because I mean, even like when people ask to hang out.
You can't be like, I don't want to hang out with you right now.
Yeah.
You're irritating, you know?
Exactly.
So you can lie to them, I'm not feeling it today.
I believe in good lies. As long as it doesn't hurt anyone.
Too much honesty can be a bad thing.
Yeah. But I've also gotten to a point where I can be like, no, I just don't want to drive out all over there. So I'm not going to do that. Or I just want to stay at home and do this.
See, I think there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
A lot of people go, oh, you know what? I have something else going. And that's not true.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, see, I don't like that. Or they just don't give a response, or they say something and you see them at some other place. Just be honest. Yeah.
Honestly, brother, I feel like I figured out at one point that those little things that we all do, kind of the BS things that we do, they kind of collect in you. And, that's where like things like anxiety and things like that come from. Definitely. Too many unchecked balance books on that, just like kind of BSing your way. Or the little things like you still have a fight with a friend you never squashed yet. Those things all build up in here and it stresses you out. You may not be thinking about it at the moment, but you're like, why am I so wound up right now? And that's all those little things,
Totally
and if you
agree.
clear that stuff out, you'd be surprised how relaxed you'll be, and like
at peace.
At peace.
Yeah. I highly encourage everybody to get whatever's off your chest. Fix any problem you have with somebody. Even if you don't want to be the bigger person, like, don't wait.
Just
if it's bothering you, then do something about it.
Once the ball's rolling, it's rolling. It's gonna work itself out, but it's that initial call or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's been forever and it's awkward. It's not as bad as what is going on right now inside of you. Yeah. Not squashing it,
Very good point. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay, last question comes from Yayu Oahu. This person says, more roots conscious medicine and Hawaiian sovereignty artist collabs? ?
Oh, so wait, let me...
Yeah, the
question is like, am I going to collaborate?
Yeah, it's just more local, I think I have to change my intonation. More roots conscious medicine and Hawaiian sovereignty artist collabs?
Yeah, actually. So I'm excited. I started working with Les, who, he's a great producer. He used to drum for The Green, drums for Fiji, drums for J-Boog, and he's a killer producer. And so we just finished one track together, and that's his world. Les is like roots man, conscious, all that. And I've been wanting to dip my toes into that world. And I hope I'm answering this question properly, but it just so happens that, yes, I'm starting to work with him. I'm excited to, what's coming out of that. So, and because of that, there's going to be collabs from his camp and me and everything. So that's kind of actually exactly what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Maybe few of those before the end of 2024 that'll come out.
Okay, awesome. Well, I know you had that one collab with Paul Isaac on your last album, right? The Plastic Island.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's...
I love Paul, he's awesome.
Yeah, I've seen him before. I have a song on my liked playlist from him.
He's a good human, that boy.
Yeah. But yeah, it's more like, not necessarily just like Hawaiian sovereignty, but just like educational, like
conscious.
Conscious would be
That's a good word for it. I think they
Plastic Island would fall into that category.
That would,
just like sustainability, world conscious, environmentally conscious, or
public service announcements.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I feel like even when I'm writing a song about heartbreak, I kind of tend to do that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what. I think that, Mike is perfect example, and he always says this to me, if you're going to take the time to write a song, you have to have a message. There should be a message in there that you're offering, to people that can pick up if they want to,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there actually is a lot of that coming up in this year. So
okay, awesome. Well, stay tuned, everybody. Go follow along, and then you'll find out. Mahalo, everybody, for the social media fan questions. Make sure you leave some for our next guest, and maybe your question will make it on the podcast. All right, so we're coming to the back end of the podcast, and at this point, I asked everybody the same question. If you look up over there, those words, keep it aloha. I like to ask people in your life, how do you keep it aloha, and what does that mean to you?
Such a good question.
Yeah, everybody got different answers, but it's pretty much all with a common theme of
It's always like, oh, what does aloha mean to you, right? It's like, it's to me, it's such a hard thing to describe or try to, put a meaning to. And the only way I can really do it is by examples, right? You got the local mechanic who's really good at wrenching, going on the freeway, kind of late, but then you see somebody broke down on the side of the road. And he stops anyway, and he knows he can help, and he does. He takes the time out of his day to do that. That's the example, right, of living your life in a way that you can be proud of. Number one. The other part of it is a willingness to be a part of this world with everyone, not hiding away your best self. And then the other part is that part of doing it with love, and it's like I think presence is really the word for it. Being present instead of what's happening tomorrow, or am I late, or worrying about the shame from yesterday. You're just here and centered with who you're with, and you're gonna bring the best that you have.
And that's keeping it aloha.
That's what I think.
Yeah. Awesome. No, I love that. Yeah. I think, like you said, everybody has different definitions of it. For me, I always say it changes in whatever's going on in my life right now.
Yeah.
So, if life is trying to teach me patience, then aloha's patience. If life is teaching me to be kind, then aloha's kindness, and it's all these other things.
It moves around.
Yeah, and it just depends what I see, how I feel, how I'm acting. Yeah, if I'm getting annoyed by things I see online, then I'm just like, okay, well, I got to keep it aloha, which means I got to stay patient. I got to control myself, all this stuff. So I feel like there's so many lessons to be learned through everything in life, Everything's a lesson.
It really is, man.
Yeah, and like the things that you don't like anger, it teaches you things that you don't like, maybe even about yourself. Yeah, so you just kind of like really look into those things. And
I think as long as you're paying attention, you can't really make a real mistake, Yeah. And if you're like, oh, I wish I didn't do this or whatever, like, why? Like, it's okay. Be nice to yourself. We're all learning. And then next, try again.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if you wake up every day, that's a blessing. So try to learn from yesterday, and
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I know what you mean. It's like you can't always be like all positive, like rainbows and sunshine. Sometimes you get irritated, sometimes you get mad,
Yeah.
But I think it's a good reminder to like tell yourself right there, keep it aloha.
Yeah, keep it aloha. I mean, it's ever since I changed the name to this, I've definitely had to do a lot of work and just reminding myself, like you say, you got to live by example. So if I'm the keep it aloha guy,
right,
I have to be the number one example of keeping it aloha.
That's not a too bad of a thing to have to.
It's not, but it's always something that I'm conscious of now. I can't be mean, and
fake
I think
the funk. You can't fake the funk. You can't be like,
I gotta.
Oh, I saw the keep it aloha guy losing his mind on the Costco guy. Bro.
Exactly, yeah. Or the one I drive around a lot, so I'm always like, I get annoyed by people who cut in front of you and don't throw up the shaka. So I'm like, I gotta remember to always throw up the shaka.
It's crazy because of that whole road rage thing. I realized at one point, it's like I'll get all mad, and then one time it happened, and then I realized, wait, I just did that yesterday on accident to somebody.
Exactly.
And we never think about that in that moment. You've done that exact thing to somebody, guaranteed. And you're all, what's wrong with this guy? It's like same thing was wrong with you, and you did it.
Yeah.
we're all making mistakes out there. And yeah, usually anger is just like an exhaust. Something's built in there, and it needs to, it's never about what you're mad at. It's always about what's stuck in there, like we were talking about before,
Yeah.
Got to clear those cobwebs out, man.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is when you stop taking things personally, it switches. The switch just flips, because the same example you would say is like, and I don't know where I got this perspective from, if just through driving or somebody else told me, or I seen it somewhere, is like, yeah, I got so mad because that person cut in last minute without putting on a blinker and didn't say hi. I'm like, I've done that before.
Right.
And I felt bad, or like maybe, and I don't think I'm a bad person, but maybe I was in a rush and I was just trying to get to the airport whatever it is. And I just subconsciously didn't think, like I forgot to say thank you, or I mean, most times I forgot, I don't shock, but like maybe I just forgot to put on the blinker because I was like so focused on like looking at my 2 mirrors on the side and like the rear view.
That's the truth, is everybody out there on the road and everybody out there in the supermarkets and in the world has their whole life going on. Everybody's got issues going on. They're stressed out. They just came from work. Their kids been acting up. Who knows, right? So it's important, to just remember that everybody's living their life and try to give people some forgiveness out there.
And also not everybody's out to get you. Right. Like when somebody goes in front, I'm like, I gotta remember, like, they're not doing that because they see that's Kamaka Diaz in the truck. I want to make him mad. Nobody's thinking that. Like if somebody walks in front of you on accident, or I don't know, like, I can't even think of other examples, but they're not doing it to spite you.
No.
You just happen to be there.
Yeah.
In their world.
I think you said it perfectly. Just the buildup of what's happening in your life right there that's making you react that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Because other times you'd be like, oh, no problem. It's all good,
Yeah. But then you just got off the phone, you had an argument with somebody, you go outside, the first person that walks in front of you, you just go off. And a lot of people, they just end up being target practice or punching bags. So.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it happens. Yeah. Growing up, or at any point in your life, did you ever struggle with your identity as, a musician, as an ethnic person, as whatever, just coming into your own and being confident in who you are?
I mean, absolutely, all the above. As a musician, as a Polynesian, as a young man turning into a man, all of those things. It's completely natural to have those things going on. Like I said, touched on that a little bit in LA, right? Like kind of falling into that stuff over there, same kind of thing. And the truth is I don't think it necessarily ever stops. It's just, I think it's not a struggle anymore. We're always changing. Or you just
accept it, maybe?
Well, we just realize that we're always changing. I'm different today than I was last week. And instead of it being like this feeling when I was young, like I'm on my way somewhere. I'm trying to reach some place, become someone, instead of realizing I'm just am what I am. And I'm constantly here right now, who I am today, who I am tomorrow. It's not like, I have to there's a goal-orientated thing. Like I have to reach this person I'm to be, right? Just doesn't like that anymore, where I'm just like, oh, I'm good. I know I woke up today. I'm not going to wake up tomorrow, hopefully, and that's it, But it's always happening. We're always changing, and we're always becoming,
And even with your looks, your appearance, you went through some changes. Well, I used to have long hair. I used to have the fish hair, and
I did that. That was the part of that journey, exactly. Getting older, you start, there's less hair today than there was yesterday. And eventually you're just like, what, I'm gonna do this whole battle. I'm just sloop, I'm good. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what it was for me then. Plus I was going through some relationship changes, and it felt good to just start again.
Let it all go. Yeah. And so when we have certain looks and styles growing up, especially as a Polynesian. Like for me, like I never felt like I looked Hawaiian, or I'd like, if I would dress a certain way, I never felt like, oh, that's super local. So that would always be something that would kind of be in the back of my mind. And even like you were like this total rocker dude. Like, did that ever like play a factor in like, oh, I feel like I don't look Polynesian?
Yeah, like
right
I think
now.
if I'm catching you right, I've done a lot of that growing up, being off of Kasi, right? You're in certain groups, or you're hanging out with your Howley friends. You're not Howley, enough. You're the token Polynesian guy. And then if I go with my cousins and stuff, barbecue, now I'm too white. You know what I mean? We always have this kind of thing going on, I feel like, as Polynesian people that are mixed. You have those feelings, I don't look Polynesian enough, or, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what you're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's certainly happened with me in life, And even now, like, only recently, I think almost because of some of that stuff, 44 years old, only now putting myself to the fire finally and saying, okay, enough is enough. Start learning how to speak Hawaiian, start learning how to speak Samoan. I dodged it all my life because it was like, oh, this pent up like energy, like, I should already know that kind, right? And it's embarrassing to say I never went down that journey yet. But enough is enough. Now I started meeting with friends, learning a little bit.
Oh, and
cool. I'm on the journey finally after all these years,
Oh, that's amazing. And it's Hawaiian Language Month this
month.
Yeah.
There you go. Like, because it's true. It was like, I think what kept me from doing it all along was like, I should have already done it, right? It's like that feeling of when you don't call a friend for too long, all of a sudden it gets harder to call them because it's all built up.
Oh, the same with not exercising.
Same thing.
Yeah.
It's gone so long. Now it's too much pressure on it, right? But it's kind of silly because it's just like same thing like music, just 15 minutes a day. That's all. Just do a little bit. Get with a friend who knows, and you guys can talk. And yeah.
Oh, that's super cool. Oh, I'm stoked to hear that you're going on that
I'm
journey.
a little baby.
Yeah, and that's totally fine because even just knowing certain words. Like I love languages, so I've learned multiple languages, and I'm currently learning Japanese. I think I'm on day 70 something of Duolingo, and like the goal isn't to become fluent in Japanese. That would be super cool, but it's just to know a few words and get a little bit deeper into my culture.
You can kind of
exactly, and it's fun. I go to like a Japanese restaurant. I'll be like, they're like, what do you want to drink? Mizu kudasai.
Yeah, I'm going with you.
Like,
All the good stuff.
It's just fun to do that, to be able to like speak to somebody in their language.
But they also say, right, like learning languages is one of the best ways to keep your mind nimble, elastic, young.
Yeah.
So I'm on the journey.
Yeah, and if you got time to watch Netflix, if you got time to scroll to Instagram, you got time. There's so many resources.
We have so much time. Even when we're busy, like you're busy, I'm busy, but we still have time.
Yeah. I do my Duolingo at like 11 o'clock, like right before midnight sometimes, but it's only 5 to 10 minutes, 15 minutes if you're really motivated.
I should probably get that.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
It's just an app. It's a free app. Yeah, they have Hawaiian on it as well. You're not going to become an expert learning off Duolingo, but it's a great foundation.
You could just do it right there.
And it's on your phone. If you got some time in the car, and it really just comes down to if you're motivated and if you're genuinely interested in learning. Yeah. Because like if you really want to learn guitar, you'll learn guitar.
You will do it.
If you really want to become a lawyer, you become a lawyer.
And that's really what it takes to do anything. You have to really have the want to do it, the desire.
Yeah.
There's going to be too many days you're going to talk yourself out of it if not.
Yeah. I'm going to say this and it's going to sound harsh, but I'm keeping it aloha to me is also being real, is that people make a lot of excuses like, oh, I can't speak Hawaiian because my grandparent was never taught Hawaiian and it was taken away because of the overthrow and blah, 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 blah. Yes, that's true, but nobody's stopping you from learning now.
Today is a different day.
I'm blessed that I learned Hawaiian as a kid, but I also went on my own to learn Spanish. I also went on my own to learn Malagasy. I'm on my own learning Japanese now.
It's not harsh, it's true. And it's the same thing with, like you said, exercise or anything else. There's always going to be excuses, you know? And that's all they are. And it's okay. Some people are in that world. I was in the excuse world before for plenty of things, but I think from what I know about you, you're very passionate about, you know, people should learn olelo and, you know.
I don't think everybody needs to. I think if you're so one video I posted and it got the most hate ever because it was the way it was cut and my tone and everything was like you know, Hawaiian is just a party trick these days. You know, everybody's just putting Hawaiian on their Instagram. I'm Hawaiian, and then I'm saying like, I don't care if you say you're Hawaiian, but if you're not doing this, then to me, like that doesn't matter. And that was taken out of context. And especially my tone, because I was talking with Jordan that episode. So you know when you're talking with friends, you're just like you have no filter or whatever, yeah. So that one, I don't think there needs to be a checklist to do certain things. Specifically to that, I'm only talking about people who use it as an advantage. Like
from what I mean, from what I know you, what I just said, it was more of this like I've seen you encourage people a lot to do it.
Definitely
in a positive way. Like, you're like, I think it would be good for you, kind of thing. You know?
Yeah, because it's a journey where you get to learn about yourself. You get to learn more about your culture. You start looking at the world in different ways. You start thinking differently. So if that's what you want to do, then do it. But if you don't, that's fine as well. Mm-hmm. But don't be like, I'm all Hawaiian and like. So
and the excuse thing too.
That's my thing is like, if you're gonna like claim certain things, like for example, if I'm saying, oh yeah, I'm a surfer.
Right.
You know, if I'm carrying a surfboard around all the time, like I'm gonna want to know how to surf, right? Like
it's the poser vibe.
Yeah. And then like, okay, if you're saying you're Hawaiian, like that's cool. Like, yes, I'm Hawaiian. I'm explaining my nationalities.
Right.
I'm not always in Aloha. I don't speak Hawaiian every day. Mm-hmm. I don't do all these things that would make you a Hawaiian person. But I'm not this like using like going out to like places and be like, I'm Hawaiian, like, you know. And that's like what I'm trying to say.
That's what you're saying.
Is like
if you're gonna like be a huge part of your identity everywhere you go.
Yeah, like take all the advantages of being Hawaiian just because you have blood. Because I know people who aren't Hawaiian that learn. I know people who aren't Hawaiian that does so much more for the Lahui that people who just because they have a drop of Hawaiian blood, you know? So that's the thing. And, you know, nobody has to agree with that. But that's just where I stand on that.
It's good, brother. You're doing good.
Yeah.
You influenced me too. I mean, I guarantee you, a lot of your podcast has influenced me on this recent journey, you know?
Oh, well,
it's like to hear that. I just see something happening. It's encouraging for folks, you know, to just finally realize it's not a scary thing. Just go ahead and learn your culture, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, of course, I'm a rock guy. I'm a blues guy. I'm a musician. So that was my whole, from 13 years old up until these 40s, I was just all music, you know?
Yeah.
But then you neglect some other pieces of you and you realize, you know, there's no reason for me to do that. I can just, like you said, there's enough time in the day, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm on a journey and I appreciate it for inspiring me, you know?
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. And I love getting messages saying, you know, people are able to connect or be motivated by certain topics to do certain things. Even as simple as like buying a shaka tea because they saw it on the podcast.
Well, this is why you're doing this to begin with, right? Is to try to bring some influence and positive and inspire. So it's working. It's working, man.
I think my goal now is just to be more aware of how I express things, because I feel like the older I get and the more I'm able to just see how the world works, I'm just like getting to a point where I'm almost like, I'm not giving enough grace to people because I'm just like, man, anybody can do anything they want. Like no excuses. Yeah, I'm getting like super traditional. Like, oh, you want to run a marathon? Then go do it. Get off your couch. Start exercising. Like I get my mindset's like that, and I have to like remember again. And I always go through these phases like, okay, not everybody thinks like you. Not everybody has the same upbringing as you. You got to remember that. So I'm always catching myself. And now, ever since I've had all that like hate on social media, I'm like, wow, people actually care what I think.
Wow, I didn't realize that went down.
And then heavy. that's like, I'm like, I really have to watch out what I say. Like, I can be honest, I can be truthful. I don't have to hold back. I just have to really make sure the message that I'm trying to convey is done correctly and in an appropriate manner.
What you mean is what you mean, and you say.
Yeah, but also it not like making sure like I explain things properly so that it's not taken out of context where the people will get hurt by it.
Yeah,
because I don't care if I offend. If you're offended, then that's something that's going on with your life.
But still, I don't want to. What you think, just
I still don't want to hurt people.
But you're not trying to be violent out there with your words.
Yeah, and just like discourage somebody because somebody like you could see. Everybody has two different realities. You saw a video, you were motivated. Somebody could see the same video and they could be discouraged.
Yeah,
you know.
Good point.
So that's the thing I'm trying to be conscious of.
Well, I don't know, man. You got a nice soft touch to the way you do your thing. It's real gentle, I think.
Yeah, but that's...
Maybe I didn't see that thing you were talking about, though.
But that's because you actually take the time to watch the clips, understand. For the people who have no context at all, they don't watch the episodes.
They're coming in.
They don't hear me encouraging people. They're just like, this person just said I need to learn Hawaiian or I'm not Hawaiian. I'm like, that's not what I'm saying, but that's how they're gonna.
That's that comment section thing we were talking about earlier too, man.
Yeah.
People are too quick to the gun, misspelling everything.
Yeah. So it's just an interesting world we live in, and it comes with the territory. I'm sure you know.
It's a good thing that you're taking things in, you're assessing it, try to improve.
All the time.
That's all we can do is just try to be better today than yesterday.
Exactly. Yeah. And living to improve, not to impress.
There we go.
Yeah. So for you, how would you measure like a successful life, a happy life? Like when everything is done and you've accomplished things, what's gonna make you satisfied to be like, this is a great life?
Yeah, I couldn't put words into my future self's mouth, but from where I stand today, I think a successful life is one where you put yourself in a position where you enjoy the days that you live and you're not a prisoner to anything. So many things to me are prisons. A lot of people are in jobs they don't like, or, they're just not honest with themselves, or they're run by the fear of not being secure or something monetarily. And I think that's not how I want to live my life, right? I'd rather be living barely check to check and doing something I love to do and waking up every day and not being like, oh, I gotta do this stuff, like that's to me successful life is if your daily is you're happy,
Mm-hmm.
And to me happiness is like not being bound or obligated to do things you don't want to do, really,
Yeah.
That's pretty much simple as that.
Awesome. I agree. Yeah. I think that's why I've been pretty happy in the last couple of years because I make my own schedule. I mean, yes, you got to do things for money.
Well,
but I'm getting to a point where I'm just like, if this podcast stuff goes really well, I could just do this and just kind of cruise.
Yeah,
and then
man.
do other stuff. Not cruise, like not work on anything. I'm always working on a million projects. But like,
whenever you do something that you love and you find a little bit of success out of it, naturally it's going to branch off into other things that you love that you'll find success out of.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like for me with music, right? Writing songs, putting out albums, performing, that's one thing. But now I'm like I just did like a voiceover for like a commercial, like welcome to the blah blah. And I'm like, you
have a good voiceover voice.
Kind of realm, right? I'm in the studio working. Mm-hmm. I like that flow. Or one time during the pandemic, I was writing music for a video game.
Oh, that's cool.
You know what I mean? So there's facets to what you love. And if you're really in it, you're going to find lots of things to do in that world,
Like hosting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, you would be a good voice actor.
That would be so cool.
Voice.
I always wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Like cartoons or whatever.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
You could I could see your voice either being the hero or the villain.
Oh, man. I don't even know where to begin how to start getting into something like that, though.
Hey, somebody message him if you're watching this. Get him into voice acting. I think you'd be great. That's why. How would you say music changed your life?
Well, it saved my life numerous times. I've been in situations in my young days where I found myself in not the right place, not the right crowd, not the right friends, doing not the right stuff. And then every time that's ever happened in my life, maybe I'll realize at one point, I haven't picked up my guitar for a week, and it'll freak me out. And I'll just run the other direction. So that's happened numerous times where it's basically made it so that I course correct every time I get too far out of bounds. And that, my life wouldn't be what it is now if that wasn't the case. And in another way, as I was saying earlier, it changes my day-to-day. I don't think I would be able to enjoy the days that I live the way that I do without music. I need it in my life. It's, I guess it's kind of like my spirituality, music is. It's my religion.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, I can tell you have a very, very strong spiritual energy.
And, I don't say that I'm not, I have a lot of beliefs from being raised the way I was raised and everything, but I think that music is the one way that I know that I can meditate, I can pray. It feels the most honest between me and the higher is when I'm playing music.
Yeah. I think that's the cool thing about all these things that we talk about, prayer, meditation, there's so many different ways to do it, because prayer, that's just, some people pray, some people manifest. Some people pray with their eyes closed. Some people pray by just talking out.
All over the world, all these different ways. Yeah.
Yeah. And
for me, it's music.
And it's music and meditation. Meditation could just be also writing song or closing your eyes and just playing some guitar.
Anything where you're there and you're present.
Yeah.
So yeah, quite a bit
awesome.
has changed my life.
That's awesome. Yeah. Was there ever a moment where you wanted to give up?
Yeah, little little breezes of it.
Yeah.
I wonder if I should just, the negative little talk comes in. You're you're getting older. You're gonna keep doing this, but ever since that time I told you about, I never really looked back, and because it was never about being successful for me. It was never about being famous or anything. I just like playing music.
So wherever that takes you,
it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna always do it. If I go back to playing for me and the bartender again someday, I'll fine. That's fine with me. I felt lucky then, and I feel lucky now.
Yeah. I don't think that'll ever happen, but I get what you're saying. I think you're a little past that.
Yeah, doesn't matter. I'm always gonna do it. And it'll always be what I do for my livelihood, even. Yeah. I don't see any other reason not to do that,
I think that's how you're doing what you love is, would you do it for free?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would do it for free.
Yeah. In a world where somebody took care of all your bills and expenses, would you be doing this for free?
Still doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I just have a couple last things I want to run by you. Oh, wait. Hold on. I got to take this off. Did you prepare a life hack, by the way?
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So
I can.
Yeah, I'll give you some time to think about that. Okay. In your life, what are you most grateful for?
My son, my family, my friends. I've been very lucky in my life to have good people around me and the people who love me and support me, and I love them. So I think that's really, it's kind of a stock answer. You probably hear it a lot, but it's really true.
It's usually family, like people say.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm grateful for, family and friends. Yeah.
I don't know how I'd do this without them.
For sure. Yeah. Shout out to the families out there. So what are your future goals beyond this, retirement. Is there ever a retirement for a singer, for a musician?
Not really.
Yeah.
And that's one of the good things about it.
Yeah.
It
Play
never
till the
really
wheels
ends.
fall off.
Yeah. So that's, for me, I'm going to be doing this. Like we said, I'm just always going to be doing this. And like I said, there's always new little things I'm finding that I can do too, you know? So I might host something someday, you never know. So I just keep it open. But for music and immediate, like just focusing on getting the tracks that are out right now out, and, you know, business as usual. Try to, we're hoping to get me out to the mainland more, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Take that talent outside of Hawaii.
It's like that. That's that big leap. We did it. We did a bunch of it, but COVID, you know, and all that just took everything back down and have to restart. You know, so
Yeah. You gotta build that momentum up again, that hype. You ever thought about going on singing shows? I know it's been pretty popular with some Hawaii people recently.
Yeah, I mean, I got
the
some
girl,
folks asking me to try to do that or whatever, but I don't know. I don't know. You never know, I guess. I can't close down any.
What makes you hesitant about it?
I guess it's that thing we talked about before, about the idea that music is a competition, or you have it or you don't, or are you good enough?
Being judged on that level.
It's kind of not part of my spiritual way with music, you know? And nothing wrong with anybody who doesn't. And I have a lot of friends who found really good success, and I'm super glad they did it because they killed it, and, you know, their career is better for it. But it just, for me, I don't know. I'm just not really, I don't think I'm like really that kind of singer anyway, you know? So, but again, you never know. So if you see me in years from now and I'm on one of those, it's possible, but I don't. It's not something I would pursue, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. You're not rushing to open the door, but if a door has a little crack in it, you might just peek in.
Yeah. Well, even further than that,
somebody might have to
get straight netted and forced over there.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, good luck with whatever you decide to do. I'm sure it's going to be great.
Thanks, man.
Do you have a life hack before we end the podcast?
Let's see. Yeah. I would say there's a bunch of life hacks. The first one that comes to mind would be don't do life hacks. No, just kidding. What I mean by that is like it's okay to take the long way around for things. You know, like don't be afraid to take your time. There's no rush in anything you're doing. You know. Because wherever you think you're going, you're gonna realize you're not anywhere anyway. You know, it's not what you think it is.
Yeah. When
you get there, so just take your time, enjoy it along the way.
Enjoy the journey.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Cool. That's a good flip on it. Yeah, it's creative. Yeah, you don't need a life hack for everything in life.
Yeah, but I mean, I know what you mean with the life hack thing. But you know what I mean? It's like I feel like a lot of people are kind of in a rush to take shortcuts, and it's like. You do miss things if you don't go the scenic way, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's always some sacrifices that comes with every decision. You know, like say you're a child prodigy in gymnastics. You get to go to the Olympics. You have all these medals hanging around your house, but then you kind of give up your childhood.
You give up your childhood.
You know, yeah. So it's like, if you're
rich when you grow up, you have all this stuff, but then you miss what it's like to
struggle
and learn street smarts and things like
exactly.
that. You know?
You go private school, you know, you're not as cool as a public school. No.
I don't know, man. Some of them private school boys are nuts. Some of them is like the worst.
Yeah, it's funny because the private school, public school thing, I think it's pretty common around other places, but I think it's very common in Hawaii how we're always, it's also that like unspoken competition. There's always the jokes that go on, especially around friends, the way somebody acts or whatever, like, oh yeah, that's public school education, or like, I can tell you went Iolani, or I can tell you went Puno.
I was just going to say specific schools have their own
yeah, it's funny how
reputation.
I think just our culture in Hawaii, our local culture, is built off stereotypes. that's how our jokes happened.
I mean,
back
think
in the
about
days.
Frank DeLima's old set, bro. It's like, we just go right in on everybody, down the line with the ethnicities. And just
and it goes beyond ethnicity. It goes to school. It goes to what you eat. It goes like everything.
Well, that's one of the things I love about Hawaii is like, I feel like we're so good at just accepting each other in the melting pot, It's like all the cultures are all blended in and everybody's able to laugh at their own culture in a way. The Portuguese, the Filipino, like whatever. Everybody knows their stereotypes and they're not like all sensitive about it. You know what I mean?
For the most part, there are people who are getting sensitive these days. Yeah.
Back in the day though, man. Back in the day, that's why like, dude, Frank and all those old comics, they would drill down, dude, on the ethnicities. Everybody's cracking up in the audience. But if they do that nowadays, it would be bad.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm more old school, of course. I don't take anything personally. I'm not sensitive. So I know people are though. So got to be mindful of that.
Like you said, we don't want to hurt people.
But man, those are the good old days.
Those are good old days, man.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that's something that might shock people about me. Like, I now ask you the same question because I ask people like, what is something you wish people knew about you that they don't? But this isn't something I wish people know about me, but something that I realize like off camera, off social media. I'm pretty like, not inappropriate, but it's kind of blunt. Like my little brother had some friends over in Hilo when we went to visit our family, I think around Thanksgiving. And the friends know me from like social media and whatever. And then we played certain games where you got to put in certain answers and whatever. And they're like, I wasn't expecting all of that from your family. And especially Kamaka. Like, I didn't know he was like that.
Surprise!
Yeah. I'm not going to say what my answers were, but...
You tell me later.
Yeah. But it's just like that kind of stuff. It's like outside of this being very put together. I kind of, at some points, there's no filter. I don't swear anything, but like in certain like ways I answer things.
Well, yeah, nobody really ever can have you know you, even though they might watch all your stuff and see you on social media or online all the time. Nobody's gonna really know you, except for your family, your friends.
Yeah. But for more or less, it's the same authentic person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What is something you wish people knew about you that they don't?
I don't know. I mean,
or something you think they misunderstand about you?
I don't know, man. I mean, I just think I can't really get into the mind of others, and I realize that it's funny that we really have no idea the way people see us, and we never will know. And there's a lot of that is that trap of like, how am I coming across? Like, did I say things right? Did I do that? So I try not to get stuck in that trap, you know what I mean?
That's actually really good.
And so I pretty much, once it comes to that territory, I start backing out already, Yeah. I know I didn't really answer the question, but I just don't think I have a real answer for it.
But I love it because that's a new perspective for me, is that when I ask that question, it is putting a lot of power into assuming what others think about you. So that's something that I'm going to think about more now.
I had to do a lot of that kind of work because of getting on stage and stuff.
Yeah.
And having that.
Yeah, all the
in the beginning days, being so
Yeah.
nervous about getting on stage, and that's kind of all centered around how people are going to see you.
Yeah.
And so I had to kind of let all of that go in order to really get on as myself for real with everyone. And just drop that veil.
It's crazy because you can never see yourself how other people see yourself. You can look in the mirror and what you see is totally
even
different.
That is not.
And not even just like physical appearance, but how people, react to your posture.
And
your
once you get into
mannerisms,
that game, all of a sudden now you're doing a certain thing, so it has a certain effect that you think that they're going to see.
Yeah.
It's a bad game to play, man.
Yeah. Just don't do that, I guess. Don't think too much into it.
Yeah. Like even me, like today, right? I could have been like, oh my God, like I should, like I was pretty tired this morning. I had a gig last night and, I go home and wind down and try to get some sleep. And then just as an example of this, right? I could have been all stressed out about how any of this is coming across. But why? You know what I mean?
Oh, you're doing terrible.
It's like,
Perfect.
Mission accomplished, bro.
No, it's great.
But exactly, right? It's like, why bother with any of that? Like, just do you for today. And tomorrow's hopefully another day. And then,
Yeah. And then, just, I talked about it in one of the past episodes. Just let it go. Like, let go of the control. Just be present. Like you said, that's aloha. That's happiness. Just be present.
You can only do what you can
That's
do.
all you can control is being present. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. I got my last fast fave 5 questions. They're just rapid fire answers, okay? Favorite post-performance food?
Oh, zippies.
Nice. What's your order?
Korean style fried chicken.
Oh, yeah, that's the one.
Fried rice instead of regular rice.
Oh, okay. Other than that, I usually go Korean chicken, all rice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love the Korean chicken.
You love your rice. But
I got it tattooed on my arm.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, because, we grew up eating rice here. And then when I went to Madagascar, that's their main staple.
Oh, is it white?
White rice, yeah. Or they have all kinds. There's like a pink rice. There's like all kind of rice.
Wild or whatever.
Yeah. But so they would have like mounds of rice, and then just like small little like meat or vegetables.
But the main
main dish, because we eat it as a
rice.
side dish. So like so much rice. So they eat it 3 times a day.
Oh,
It's just that. So I just love rice even more. Like now, if I don't have rice for like a day or two, I need something with rice. I could eat so much rice. Yeah.
Oh man.
Favorite TV show or movie?
Princess Bride.
Nice. It's a classic. Yeah. Okay. So sometimes I ask musicians or singers like, what's your favorite song to sing? And it's a little harder for them to answer. But this one I think is a little bit easier. Favorite karaoke song. Because everybody got their karaoke song. Not like favorite of yours, just whatever song you like to karaoke to.
Song for you, I think it's called Elton John.
Oh, song for yeah. And that's like I can hear it in my head. Like, this is a song for you.
This is your song.
Yeah.
It may be quite simple, but
yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah. Awesome. Favorite venue to perform?
Right now, like I said, it's Slacky Lounge. Simple, right in Honolulu. Great sound, good lights, good space. Obviously love playing Shell and Blaisdell and the big stuff. It's always fun, but that place is kind of like my home base.
Nice.
Where the folks who run it are like family to me, and it just feels like home,
Yeah, like backyard.
Yeah, I feel like I have the most
out.
like just really honest shows there.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I gotta come by one day. Hawaiian Brian's, you said, yeah? Okay. I rarely go out at night, but if there's one of those nights where like, hey, we should go do something after this dinner, and we're like, hey, what day is it?
Text me up, let me know.
All right. Last one. Favorite way to decompress?
Just cruising with my son Maverick, playing cards with him.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just hanging out, cracking up, belly laughing with him.
Nice.
That's my
That's favorite. A good name, Maverick. That's the name. That's my truck, Ford Maverick.
Oh, that is you on by.
Oh, yeah. Actually. Nice. Awesome. Well, it was really good talking stories with you, just getting to know your life story, and mahalo for sharing all the insight. Is there anything you want to share before we wrap up? If not, tell us where we can find you.
You can, first Thursday of the month, you can come to Slacky Lounge. That's that gig I was telling you about. Social medias, all that stuff. I'm sure you'll post that stuff.
Tavana official, right?
Yeah, check that stuff out. And, I just want to say before Paul, really, really mean thank you so much for having me, man. Really.
Guarantee.
It's an honor sitting with you today, getting to know you too, and just thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, I feel honored. It's crazy when I think back to like a couple years ago. Like there people like you, and you're well known in the community, and now I'm like in the same breath. Like I can like sit in the same chair across the people like you and like these other musicians. It's just crazy that I'm here. Like, to me, like I was a nobody like a couple years ago, and
it's
like,
just the beginning, man.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like
a lot more to come up with you.
Yeah, it's very. I feel very blessed
But stay in that spot.
Yeah.
Be grateful.
Always.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. I trip out on the life I have now. So like, I feel honored,
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, mahalo Tavana for joining us on the Keep It Aloha podcast. Spread love, be kind to one another, and mahalo for listening to us today. We have new episodes every Thursday, so make sure you follow us and leave a review. I'm your host, Kamaka, and remember to always keep it aloha.